Tuesday, June 21st, 2016 at 6 p.m.
That's fine.
We get approval of the May 17, 2016 minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes for May 17th, based on file.
Got a motion to accept the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Review accounting report presented by City Accountant Kim. Yeah, Kim.
Okay, the check register for tonight, there's nothing unusual there. We haven't passed our budget yet, so these are just normal routine expenditures. Once we pass the budget, then we'll be able to put through some of the unusual or the one-time expenses that we're anticipating. So these are just normal expenses. Anybody have any question on any of the checks on that listing?
I did all my questions
You good?
earlier today.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything?
There was a few I had to ask.
Larry asked good questions.
You want to share with us, Larry, or is it
Yeah.
pretty good?
No, it was all pretty good, really. It was just a couple of things in there that I never seen before, and I wanted to know. And I already talked to Tony on Blackhawks again, so yeah, it's pretty much everything's good to go.
Anybody else have any questions for Kim on that check register? What else you got, Kim?
Under the collector's report, there again, this is payments that came in other than taxes. In the month of May, we did receive the permit fees for the Tory Foods out at Ridgeport. So that was an increase in something unusual than what we normally have. The building permit fees, inspection fees, and some water and sewer capacity fees that came in with that permit. So, other than that, there's just normal receipts that come in this time of year.
Anybody got any questions on the collector's report? Anything else, Kim?
No?
Anything else for Kim? Thank you, Kim. New business. Commissioner, review concept plan for annexation and rezoning of the property located at south side of Strip Mine Road, property owned by Barney Castillo. Everybody had a chance to go up and look at that or see what he's talking about? I believe he's there tonight too, aren't we?
Arnie, can you possibly give us a presentation on what your concept is, what you plan on doing?
Sure.
Benefits?
Yeah, so what my goal has been, or wanting to do with that piece of property, is to make a parking area to park our equipment. And I got a couple containers to put our hand tools and such in there. And so that's the goal, to have it there. The equipment is not there through the day, generally speaking. We take it out in the morning, bring it back, park it in the evening. You know, so that's what we do. It had been mentioned last time we were talking, we don't do any snow plowing, so there's not going to be any equipment in and out on a regular basis through the winter. We kind of shut down because we do a landscaping business probably around the end of November, depending on weather and so forth. Might do a little repair, stuff like that, if we can get to it and do it. So it's not really a lot of traffic in and out. In the morning, load up, go out. In the evening, come back, park it.
Your neighbor's forest preserve then?
On the south side, I guess that it is. Yeah, on the one side, it's
Brandon's property is
Yeah.
east of you, I guess, yeah.
Correct.
Any issues forest preserve come out and see you or anything?
Well, Will County, I mean, we are talking with them about the wetlands, that there are some wetlands where we are not in the floodplain. We have checked with the city here. And so we are talking with them, and we have an engineer that's in touch with them. That's what they want to have. And so they're going to make a delineation exactly where the line is. And then we'll just go from there, whatever that is. That's a little setback off of that, and we'll leave it alone. I'm not really interested in doing anything with that wetland.
Understood. We just don't want to get in any situation where the Forest Preserve is looking for us to clean up any grinding or anything that's built into their property. So as long as you're good with them, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we had some material on the bank and they told us to clean it out, so I moved it, I cleaned it out, and that's not a problem. I didn't know that it was a wetland, I thought it was an old dump. It's junk in there. So anyway, but they said it is, so that's fine. We really don't need that for the purpose of what we got it for.
There's no plan to put any type of permanent structure or stuff like that out there. I don't know how that would fit with our zoning, we can really do that. That's one of the challenges. Another challenge is for many type of annexation, I believe kind of was a benefit from the city standpoint. And annexing property, you kind of look at benefits and stuff like that for the city. So those kind of things that would.
So the only thing that I would be looking for, which I had talked about before, and it's not something that I probably would do now, but those containers that I have there, I am looking to separate them just a little bit more than they are, and actually enclose them in a shed over top.
So you want to bring more containers in?
What's that?
You want to bring more in?
No.
That's a challenge we face with a lot of it is because those are accessory structures, there's really no permanent structure, there's no, you know, how does that fit into our zone? You know, that's some of the challenges is, and then the second thing is really the benefit from an annexation standpoint. When we tend to annex and bring property into the city, there tends to be some type of value and benefit from the city standpoint. Right now, it's hard to see, and that's why I'm asking to see what we're looking to do. Just containers, just places to park things. What's the value for the city?
So yeah, I don't know what the value to the city would be, I guess. I don't really know all the ins and outs of that. But we were looking to get it rezoned to I-2, which does, according to the city, it does allow the outside storage and the containers to be there. You know, other than that, I mean, if I put in a shed, I don't know if there's taxes on that. I have to be honest, I don't want to pay any more taxes than I have to. But, you know, whatever it is, it is.
That's the only, I mean, from your tax standpoint, that would be the only thing that would change. You don't pay city taxes now. You annex, now you pay city taxes, but all the other taxes still stay the same. But one thing that's really key is, you know, I-1 or I-2. I-2 allows for storage, but I think there has to be a permanent structure there. You know, some type of permanent building. Just like with residential,
Yeah,
you can't have just strictly an accessory structure. Those are the challenges, I don't think.
Under I-2, there's a permitted use for storage without a structure, for yards like this, landscape yards, or construction yards, where they don't have to have an office or a permanent structure. But you have to go through the process to get that approved.
Right.
So,
What is it zoned now?
It's not in the city.
It's not in the city, so you're gonna annex it,
That's
and
what
he wants to zone it I-2.
Well, I think he had challenges with Will County as far as what your intentions are.
Yeah, so Will County said that they will not allow they don't have anything to allow outside storage. That's what they said. They said they don't want any containers, period. And so I told them, I said, well, here I am. I didn't realize that, whatever. What can I do? So they recommended that we talk to the city of Wilmington and see if we would be annexed. They said that would probably be the best way in order to get your outside storage. So that's really why we're going through this process, to see, you know, see if that works. I don't know.
Does anyone know what kind of taxes we would get from this property? Would you be interested in putting up a fence to block the storage containers?
Yeah, so they recommend, or I had a berm there to start, because I didn't think anybody would want to see, you know, that naturally. And I was willing to put up a fence. They said the berm is better. And so if we go through this process, get it done, we will make it look nice on the roadside, absolutely. You know, put some plants and so forth there, so it looks good. I like it to look good. We do landscaping. That's what we do. If they said they would probably want a gate with, you know, so you can't just see through there, so you can't see through, that's fine with me. I would like to put a gate. That's okay.
Anybody have any other questions?
I didn't get a chance to look at this whole plan. How tall is this berm? My concern is seeing these containers.
Right, and what Steele's doing is coming to see, trying to kind of get feedback or input from you guys to see if he needs to go to the next step. Right now, he's in a conceptual plan on this concept. If the council looks at this favorable, that it's something that the city would be willing to do with the annex that property, then he can take it upon himself to go to that next step in the process of annexation, acquiring the zoning and stuff like that, where you can actually go through the planning and zoning commission again with the basic annexation process and zoning process. Mr. Castillo's doing the right thing. He always come in with the concept plan to get that feedback from you guys. Don't have to be tonight, I'm sure. Whether if he's going to go to that next step, if it's worthwhile for him to go to that next step or not. If he's going to go through all that step and the council is going to deny his request, then he's going to waste his time and his money. We don't want to make sure we want to do that. So he's presented his concept to you guys to kind of get a feedback. I'm sure it doesn't have to be tonight. A lot of times you guys first time you're hearing it from him as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we discussed. I mean, there's seasonal issues that we need to talk about. Future utilities running down there, our utilities together. We plan on getting out that direction on it one day. Obviously, we don't want the issues with
I think the biggest challenge is finding out what zoning fits or meets this area. To what's the benefit going to be from the city standpoint for the annexation process, if there is one. We don't know. Those things, questions that I have, we have to be asked or answered, so we can go forward.
The only thing, if I'm not mistaken, when I drive by there, 'cause I think I drive by there every day, the berm, the opening, I think that gate would pretty much cover whatever may be seen from the road, because the berm is already there.
Yeah, it's pretty hidden back.
Yeah, it's hidden.
I don't know what we have right now on our 20 plan.
If you look at it, it's on the opposite side of strip mine. It's just a little.
Yeah, it's in there, it's grand, it's all
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
Low
I know
area
exactly
there.
where it's
I mean, we're annexed all the way down there to the strip annexation. Back 90s, early 90s, when actually the city was working towards going towards Shadow Lakes. That's been a long time, early 90s. So the property's already there. It's just this parcel was actually cut out of that whole portion of the strip annexation. It's just going through that process. Yeah, that's all it really is.
The comprehensive plan, due to the fact you got all types of conservation surrounding them on three sides, that these two lots, one lot that Barney has, is really an anomaly. I mean, what it can be used for is pretty limited because of the wetlands in the area, and putting up any type of structure probably would not be a benefit for that area. I think the main challenge that you have with something like this, because of it is being a unique piece of property, is this the highest, best use is always the question that we ask and the planners always ask. At this point in time, with the I-2 zoning, it probably is the highest, best use because there is no need for commercial at that location. It wouldn't be attractive. One, it probably would be in the market. And then across the street is pretty much, could be commercial, could be industrial, it could be housing down the future of the strip line. But I think it's an important point about easements and right-of-ways. The only benefit we could have when you get control of the property as a city for zoning is part of the annexation agreement, we can write all that in. And if there is certain restrictions in the I-2 zoning, if we want to limit them in regards to how many containers, put that right in the annexation agreement. And then, if he's happy with 2, we're happy with 2, he can't add no more.
That's easy for now. In fact, it was 10 or 15 years down the road. Yeah, no standing.
No step, you put that on the annexation.
Right, yeah, it's down the road. Those are things we definitely have to look at.
And those are, I think that's the input you're going to need when the hearing comes into place. Before the hearing happens, for John to draft the annexation agreement, to get that far. Marty has filed for the public hearing in front of the Planning Commission. Planning Commission gave some ideas, similar to what you guys talked about, looking at minutes. concerned about the screening, more high landscaping and putting plants in.
What's it currently zoned right now as part from the county standpoint? Agricultural?
Ag, I want to say.
It's, that small piece that we're on is R2,
Oh,
and right next to it is the next lot over is agriculture.
R2?
Is it residential?
Yeah.
Well, county sometimes, but, yeah.
Probably just granted property.
Across the street.
And he did, strip mine is a county road, so the access that he currently has is permitted. The county did give him a permit for that access. And I know Kobe's gonna have to look at that, and see how it fits our standards in regards to how it's built. And make sure there's enough sight distance, and that the cars aren't, sticking out to try to see past the berm. So those are the type of things that we look at. So, I know Kobe got one phone call, making sure, because of the wetlands and the drainage, we got a call from the conservation already. They want to make sure that we're looking at that. And then, got a call from the local landowner across the way, Brandon, or Michelle, about what's the potential use on this property. He always sold the I-2, type of, industrial zoning is going to be. It'll be a public hearing next planning commission. It'll be applied for. You pay all his fees to restart that process. So, yep.
All right, thank you. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the presentation by Chief Design Associates for Land Use Planning and Professional Services.
Yeah, I'll give a little preference of why they're here tonight, why they've been invited tonight. HR Green, Phil Stupert got relocated, transferred out to his favorite state, he's from Denver, that area. So he's going back home. HR Green opened up another office out there. And so Phil's going to be leaving us, so he has our disarray in regards to land planning. So I brought in for you guys to get to know another land planner company, and you guys are getting used to it. Turn it over to Mike Shoppy and Gary Hansen.
Good evening.
How do you pronounce your name, sir? Let's get it.
You were close, but it's Shoppy.
Shoppy?
Yeah, Shoppy Design Associates. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to have a chat with you, describe our firm. A little bit to you, the services that we provide. As Tony said, I've got Carrie Hansen with me. Carrie is our Director of Planning and Government Services for the firm. I'm the principal and owner of the firm. And to give you a little bit of background on the firm, we're a land planning and government services and landscape architectural design firm. I've been doing this type of work for about 30 years, ever since I got out of school. Did a little bit of work down in Florida back in the early 80s, and then came back to the Midwest where I'm from to continue our practice. I started SDA back in '98, so just about 15 years ago, and we're currently located at our offices in downtown Oswego. We're not too far away, and we've been there for, I say, about 15 years. And Carrie has joined us about 3 years ago as we got involved more in municipal planning. That's a large part of Carrie's background, and she was a perfect fit for us just about 3 years ago. And we're developing that type of work as well. I continue to do municipal planning and private sector planning work all through my career. But really my forte is on the design side, land development and design side of things. Preparing subdivision plans, commercial development, preparing plans for business parks, all sorts of land development type of work. And as part of that, of course, there's a lot of zoning and municipal meetings to attend, discussing the merits of the project. And that's when I got to know the city of Yorkville and Tony. Back in 2000, the city of Yorkville hired Shoppy Design Associates as their consulting planners. From 2000 to 2007, we were the city of Yorkville's consulting planners, and I was the planner that was I took care of all the plan reviews from the planning side, set up some procedures of plan review, coordinating with the other city departments, coordinating with other agencies that help to set up those procedures, as well as the normal plan review, written comments to plan commission, city council, things like that that we've been talking to Tony about. We're going to continue to do that, and that's really more of Carrie's forte. That type of work, she's got a lot more experience. I think we did a very good job for Tony in the city of Yorkville, but with Carrie on board, we're going to do an even better job for those types of services. I'm going to have Carrie go through a little bit more of her background for you.
Enter Carrie. Thanks again for having us here this evening. As Mike said, my name is Carrie Hansen. Been with Mike for just under 3 years. Prior to that, a good portion of my experience and career has been in public sector work, about 20 years, both as a planner, ultimately in a city management capacity as a village administrator for Oswego in my last public sector role. I started out doing planning work, both current and long-range planning with the city of Naperville. It was my first job out of the gate in the late 80s. We were very busy back then. And then came to New Lenox in Will County and was there for about 7 years. Lived in Joliet during that time, so familiar with Will County and the region, the type of growth that certainly in the 90s when I was in New Lenox, I think we were probably issuing about 500 starts a year. So growth seems to follow. It's good thing for that thing. Then I went to Oswego, which was kind of the next march west in the Naperville Development Corridor. I've served in the Community Development Director capacity there. And through its period of most explosive growth that they had ever experienced, both on a residential and a commercial perspective. I think they now have probably close to 3 million square feet of retail in the Route 34 corridor, which was a cornfield when I got here in '99. So certainly have experience on the public sector side, processing and working with the development community, plan review, zoning, comprehensive planning. I've overseen comprehensive planning efforts, both on the public sector side. I've also written some comprehensive plans in my day. I've worked for a private developer and a home builder. So understanding it, for me, understanding it from both sides of the table has been incredibly beneficial in terms of how I am then able to represent the municipality in those negotiations. So I work for a home builder, two places that I personally caused to be housing decline because I upset the apple cart in public sector and private sector planning. And I was there from about 2005 until 2009, which really was when things started to go the other way. And then worked for a public outreach and communications firm, who I think some of you here may be familiar with the Indiana project. We were the public outreach lead on that. I'm not saying yes, no, really, and yes, no, but we were responsible for organizing a lot of those meetings. And now the local 150 facility, lovely, again, lots of people, and are, again, you're recently familiar with the challenges that a project like that has presented to a community like Wilmington. I also did a lot of outreach for phase 1 studies for IDOT in Northern Illinois. So District 1, District 2, District 3, worked on the I-80 project, which kind of got the back burner when Indiana got going. That project is actually still going. I think it's been going for about 8 years. So again, working with communities from Paducah to New Lenox, that is a 16-mile corridor, looking at the stakeholder outreach, and work with a lot of the communities in that area. So certainly a breadth of knowledge in terms of understanding local government, and most specifically planning and community development, both long range and current, in terms of our knowledge of processes and procedures is pretty extensive. So.
And a little bit more background on SDA. As you can probably see from the information that we sent, there's projects in there. Those are examples of development projects. A lot of work, a lot of park work, both park design as well as park planning, comprehensive plan for Park Works. Carrie's background is included in comprehensive plans for some award-winning comprehensive plans for municipalities. We are a firm, we're a small firm. We're a pretty responsive and active firm. We're a firm of 6 people. Back in 2009, when Carrie created the class, we let some of our staff go like others, and we built it back up. So we managed to survive, and we're continuing to grow. We're going to be around for a long time. All 4 professional people, 2 administrative staff. As I said, how we go. The role that I would be playing. This would if we're fortunate enough to be able to work for you, we're going to see both of our faces, but you won't see probably as much of mine as you will with Carrie. My background, as I said, is more design. If there were to be some, whether it's park design, or we need some help on land development design, a petitioner comes in and not quite sure what they want to do, and we've got ideas, and if we can help communicate those ideas more in drawing form and writing form, then I might get involved on that particular project. There's some streetscape work. Things like that, I would be involved. I will be involved as the principal, no matter what the assignments are. I will be involved to ensure the quality control and make sure things are going well. But your primary contact would be with Carrie, because I think from the information that we've got from Tony, what the needs are of the community right now, that's more of Carrie's forte. And again, I would be providing some specialized work and design work. If there's some strategic negotiations that take place, I would certainly be here to represent that. But with Carrie's background, she's more in tune with, I think, the services that Tony is describing right now. And if you got any questions on any of those projects or the services, we're certainly interested in answering some questions that you might have for the villages or where the city is going. But that's kind of the role that I would play, and go into more detail on the role that Carrie would play.
I really would be the day-to-day contact. If a question comes up and it needs analysis or input, 20% phone and says, hey, what do you think about this? And it's really on an individual basis. But we would also, in the more traditional role, the planning consultant would be, the person would be attending the planning commission meetings, if that's what you would like for us to do. City council meetings on an as-needed basis, if that's, I would be the meeting person as well. Any meetings that you would have at a staff level that would require the planning consultant, I would likely be the person attending those meetings, coordinating with outside agencies. Clearly, we would be taking our lead from Tony, but whether that's an IDOT meeting or to the extent that would be necessary, or potential development coming in, commercial, industrial, or residential. We certainly would be representing the village, the city's interest in those particular meetings in that capacity. But again, I would really be, from a coordination perspective, and again, on an as-needed basis, pulling my in for more specific design needs, or if you want, his name is on the shingle, and I always tell him that very deferential to the fact that it's his company. But again, on a day-to-day basis, I would be.
One of the reasons why I thought maybe a good fit coming in, what shopping design has added is a Carrie. When I worked with them before, they were strictly into the land planning, zoning, entitlement, a lot of park planning, a lot of facility planning, which is definitely Mike's forte with design. The added value of Carrie is, especially knowing the culture of IDOT and knowing the economic development world, and working with a lot of economic development corporations. They got set up in Oswego and in Yorkville. The added value there is Carrie knows what those incentives are, knows about what the private and public partnerships, what are the values of those. And I think with the potential of commercial out of Bridgeport and the potential of what we know is coming down Route 53, along with our downtown, these are the type of things that, we have, the abilities to sort of guide, but we don't have that expertise of knowing how some of these projects work and how they can sort of bring an extra, especially with planning purposes when it comes down to downtown beautification streetscapes. They've been through a lot of those successes, and they've been through some failures. Those things that they looks nice on a piece of paper, and they try to get into practical. And as Gary always says, planning is common sense, and really I like that approach. It is really common sense. It's not a science, it's sort of an art form in what we spend. As you look through the projects, where we're at that next level, what we're going to do with our islands, like for planning. And I think with Mike's experience in parks, it's going to be very helpful. I mean, that's where Phil was good too. Phil's forte was in parks and park design. So I wanted to keep that going too. And that's where I thought they're a good fit. I like the idea of the small firm because you're not changing out, getting different, of some of the different person assigning. And plus small firms, they have a lot of investment in ownership to the product when they come in. And I think it fits well for Wilmington because we all know we're pretty close-knit down here. And if they can accept it, to move on, it's like everything else. It's as-needed services. We're not going to be putting them on a retainer. We're not going to be paying out for anything. And we do need, for planning commission, we do need that review process for when projects come in. Colby and Phil used to always do those nice reports. You guys used to see them too in regards to any projects coming to us. And with Bridgeport just started being on fire, especially with every project coming down the road. I think there's some opportunity out there. Some great things happen with commercial. So, it'd be nice to have someone who can sort of help us out with that too.
Maybe to expand on that a little bit, and Tony has talked to us in great detail about truly the exciting element of a development like Bridgeport coming. That's a tremendous opportunity. Also incredibly daunting to make sure that is done properly because boy, if we don't get it right, that could be certainly trouble down the road. So I think what Mike and I can sort of bring to the table is to really proactively address that rather than simply reviewing and reacting to a proposal. We can certainly serve as the city's agent in identifying how you want that directed and what are the best tools to get you to that point. And really sitting down at the table as a team and partnering with the developer and the businesses out there and saying, this is a collective vision for us and we're all going to succeed if we make this work in the right possible way. And having people on the other side of the table understand that, we get it. We understand what you're saying. We understand what the hurdles are going to be. And we understand how we can be efficient and effective to make it easy for you as well. But we also are going to be representing our client and making sure that your feet are to the fire as well in terms of what the city wants to see out there. So it's a very proactive approach to the extent that that's what you want, but we're certainly able to do that.
Something else to throw on that we take a lot of pride in. Obviously, we've been around doing land development, economic development work for 30 years, carry much less than that. But for the city of Berkeley, for example, we're involved in probably over 250 development projects for that 7-year period, one of the fastest growing counties, of course, in the country during that time frame. But through that process and through our work with the private developers and all the meetings that we have on any of those projects, the ability to know what questions to ask, what the goal is, and what questions to ask in order to accomplish those goals, we have that breadth of experience. So if we go into a meeting representing the city, we know what the city's goal is. We can't leave that meeting until we've gotten out of that what we need to. If we're not getting out of it, we've got the benefit of that experience to ask the questions of the right stakeholders, or those that are at the meeting, so that we can get the information out of the table, discuss it, digest it, and then proceed forward.
Maybe sometimes the answer is no. Not everything is always right for the community, and I think having a clear vision from you to make sure that we understand exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve and what that collective vision is. Sometimes it's easier for us to say no than it is for you folks to say.
I think sometimes it's best, especially in the whole planning process, is the town meetings that tend to happen before you guys sit up here in front of the public. Because there is a lot of back and forth that goes between whoever the developer is with engineering and planning, where they're trying to weigh, you guys are saying, no, it doesn't work this way, but you all try to find out the best way that works. And I think that's sometimes a lot. People see you sitting there, they go, wow, it's really easy to do a bunch of anything. Tend to miss the account of what went behind the scenes, you know, where to get to that point where, because usually any developer that comes in knows that until it's right, they don't want to sit up in front of here and listen to the professionals we have sitting out here, tell them what they're doing. So I think it's, sometimes it tends to get lost in the whole thing, what transpired before guys sit at the desk.
And that's really our job, to make sure that you're informed of that process, you know, that it is a lengthy process usually to get from point A to point B and what has transpired, so.
We have to rely on you guys' professional expertise in that process, and trust in that professional expertise to help the product that's being presented for the best representative of the city. And that's where it's even critical for the comprehensive plan, 20-year plan, and looking at that, making sure that it fits into that 20-year comprehensive plan.
Yeah, our current plan, comprehensive plan is 2009. Normally, like that, every 5-7 years, the longest. So we're almost time for the comprehensive plan. And exactly what the mayor says, we had a master plan community, which was about 1,200 acres, that was going through Yorkville. We had 212 documented meetings by the time we got the master plan approved. That was internal city council meetings, economic development meetings, committee meetings. But at the end of the day, after 17 months, we documented 212 meetings and a lot of paperwork. But at the end of the day, it's a beautiful development. Schools, parks, and development made was successful at the end. We had through the recession. Developer had to pay a lot of money.
Absolutely. And at the same time, what people miss on that aspect is a lot of times the fees that are produced by planning companies are really passed through the financial situations where the developer that's coming in is actually really responsible for making those payments. They pay the city payments.
The more they want to argue, the more they have to pay.
Absolutely.
It's a beautiful thing.
That's true.
Do you have any questions?
I know if you look in there, there's one project we're all proud of, is the riverfront down in Yorkville. They were part of that design as assistants. They didn't do the design itself on the kayak run in the new dam, but Mike was influential in guiding them through the process, representing the city. And at the end of the day, it's a great project. And we have possible opportunity here too with our
Absolutely.
Yes, much more.
Beautiful community. Did you folks have a chance to look at the plan of the North and the South Island that was drawn up by Phil and people? Do you guys feel like we're going in the right direction, or is there some tweaking that you see that stands out right away?
If we haven't got into that detail, before we would kind of jump to a conclusion and make recommendations on any changes that may be just perfect, it would be first important for us to know what the city is trying to accomplish with that. What's the finances, what's the vision of the park, what's the program for the park development. And we would want to understand that first before we make any recommendations on whether to change it or be or not. So I guess I'd say we haven't looked into it really in that detail yet to be able to offer any suggestions.
The first step of even doing a plan is a huge step. You know, recognizing that you have an opportunity and an amenity there is half the battle. You know, whether or not to tweak it, you've already made the best decision, which is to say, hey, you know, we have an opportunity. Let's look at what we can do here. I know there was a pretty significant amount of input in meetings leading up to what's there now, but yeah, we have to look at it a little bit more. Lovely. Just without knowing the background behind it.
It would be a terrific project to be involved with. If the exposure, where it's at, in relationship to the rest of the town, would be a very fund project.
We were talking on the way down, and certainly having some familiarity with Wilmington and what's around it. You have such opportunity with, the river coming through and the day wind being so close to you, 66 coming through. You have amenities and elements in your community that a lot of other communities can for. And you're situated, you have interstate access, you have industrial development. It's a matter of what you want to do. Because if you want to take that next step and do something other than what's here today, we feel that you're situated to be able to take advantage of that. How you do that, everybody has opinions, but wow, I mean, the fact that you have those to work with in the first place, most communities don't have that. A lot of communities.
All right, well, thank you. Any further questions for folks? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, we have one more item. Review and approve bid results for demolition and asbestos abatement for the former Widow's Laundry Home and award the bid to Eckstein Construction Corporation, lowest responsible bidder, in the amount of $24,074 as recommended by True North Consultants.
Yeah, this is more of an update. It was through committee once already after the bid went through, and then we agreed to ask them to hold the bid until the budget was approved. And looking at that, and the company did hold the bid, and we got that letter on file. So I didn't want to just put it back on the city council agenda to sign the contract for the bid because we're waiting for budget. So nothing's changed. They haven't increased the price or anything in regards to it, and we're ready to go with the Widow's Home demolition.
So I hear that as a motion.
Correct. After the budget's been approved.
And you have that item in the budget?
Yes.
Taken care of.
Yes, it's been there since the budget was placed on file.
Okay, very good. Anybody have any further questions about this issue? Can we get a motion to recommend this to full council?
I would make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to recommend the acceptance and approval of the bid from Eckstein Construction for council approval. Second? All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, thank you. Update the old police department and identifying surplus property.
Yeah, this sort of ties into what's on the agenda tonight that was tabled last week. We were able to get the appraisal, and you can tell there's a couple steps that have to take place. But I know there was hesitant on, and I agree, why should we spend money on repairing a roof if the building possibly should be maybe demoed? Having the appraisal, I think it helps us a lot, and help you guys a lot, because now we know what the value is on the appraised value. So, as you can tell, it's $135,000 is what the certified appraisal came back. And so really the next steps are going to be, which we bring up from the city council, is to identify, first step is identify the surplus property. And if there is surplus property identified, then to give direction to put it for sale. There's a couple ways we can put it for sale. We're going to have further discussion on that when we have the ordinance put together. I think I would recommend that now that we know this, I think once you get the table motion, I think spending a little under $6,000 to repair the roof is very beneficial for us to keep the value of this. The appraiser was aware of the roof repair, so to read through the appraisal, he did include that in the appraised value, that there is repair that's needed. And with repair being done, he also bases his appraisal on that repair being done. Otherwise, it would be a deduct in regards to roof damage and damage to the property. So,
And the generator comes with it?
no, generator is belongs to us. I mean, you can, if you want to add that to it, you could. I don't know. We haven't assessed it.
I mean, if somebody come in, they wanted to, they just add value.
It could.
One thing I can say that we should do is we'll reach out to Public Works as to
See if we get it first.
and guys and see if there's a need for it somewhere else within the city, and then determine if we incorporate. If we determine that that's going to be surplus property, if we incorporate it into the building, or if we have it as a standalone surplus property.
We haven't purchased a generator for the water plant yet, have we?
No, but I think that's big enough.
Yeah.
And what they need, because from the water plant standpoint, their backup generator would be to run all those pumps. That's like 180 volts. That's the big still
This
work.
generator,
This is just a small thing to run on this big stuff.
I'll tell you one spot where it could be needed, could be right here. We don't have one here, so, you know. It's possible. Or it could just be, we can keep it mobilized, and then just put hookups at certain locations where we'll take
It may
it.
serve as a purpose for backup for lift stations.
Yes. We need to assess it to see what the value of it is.
I think we'll assess it.
It's still on wheels?
No, we'd have to
Yeah, we
mobilize it.
have to mobilize it.
I think we need to get a good look at it and see.
So you suggest we maintain the idea of having that parking lot?
Yes.
Well,
I think, well,
That's-
it's open for discussion.
yeah, I think everybody needs to read the appraisal.
Read the appraisal.
Like page 17 here, it says the appraisal was completed under extraordinary assumption that there's no toxic mold subject improvements. And at the time of the appraisal, there were some black mold substances noticed in the improvements. Therefore, the professional mold inspection, and if toxic mold is found, then might negatively affect the appraised value of the cost remediation. So there's just a few questions to be asked here before we take this for verbatim that it's worth $135 grand.
But I think in the whole concept of looking at everything, I know that the mayor's talked about, knocking down, making a parking lot out of it too, is to really see what the value of it is, making it a commercial building. It's a piece of property with the building that has no property taxes or anything that's ever been associated with it. You end up parking that building, you put it back on the tax rolls, there's a benefit to every tax body that's in the city. As well as moving forward, it's potential for extra revenue for the city, even though it's a one-time thing.
How much are we making on the Eagle Hotel? How much are we making? We sold that to it, or somebody bought that for it. I just don't want to see that again. I don't want to see another building sit downtown. Nobody does it. We didn't own it, I understand that. But what's it doing right now? It's not doing anything.
And then from the concept of that, Alderman Hull, is it never hurts to put something out for bid to see what you get. If you get nothing, then you take that next step. Okay? Because even if you put something out there and you don't get the bidding or get what you're looking for, let's say somebody comes in and offers you $130,000, now it's a benefit for the city to possibly look at that. If somebody comes in and only offers you $90,000, well, the city can't take it anyway because you need to be at 80% of the value of what the appraised value
Which I
is.
imagine is what we're going to come down to anyway.
The thing is, it's a step
I
process.
think it's a great piece of property. I think it's worth more.
If you get that value, if you get that in there, then you make that decision. But at the same time, you may
Just want to make sure people think
if
it's worth
somebody
more.
coming off you $200,000, you're still out there in the parking lot.
We could definitely,
My broker hat.
we could definitely use
Yeah,
downtown
nobody's
parking.
gonna do that because they'll never recover their estimate. The thing that bothers me with doing this is if you get an inflated value on this thing and it doesn't allow us to get rid of this thing for a decent amount of money, we're stuck with it, with a moldy building,
Well,
because of extraordinary circumstances.
first off, I can address the mold.
Yeah.
I told the appraiser we already had it
Right.
looked at, and there is no mold in the building, so that black substance you see, and we'll have them come back out and look. We already had the asbestos abatement done. There's no asbestos needed for removal there. So we definitely, he wasn't aware of that because he didn't come in and ask those questions. I saw it afterwards. So we're sending over, because we had air quality and we had all that done when the police were in there.
We had all that done when our former police chief.
But it's things we got to find out. You know, I think the building's got value. I was a little surprised with $135,000. I'll be the first one to say that. But I think it's definitely got value on it. At least test the market. But you can always, like I say, you can always go backwards on, when it comes in to buy it, and then your next step is it's surplus property, and you look at demolition. But demolition's going to be around $35,000. Talking to a couple of people looking at the building, demolish it. I thought that was a little high, my one guy rate, but he's looking at, there's a lot of concrete there. So disposal and removal and, making sure it's all
We'll
safe.
end up with another building like the old city hall next door.
Well, we've also,
That first one,
150.
for City Hall? I heard Abraham Lincoln was there one day.
I still think we can start on that.
we got a big firm.
So,
Okay, all right. Anything else to come before this committee? Motion for adjournment.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.